Have you ever read a description of your zodiac sign and felt like it didn't fit you at all? You're a Sagittarius, but you're as suspicious as a Scorpio. You're a Pisces, but your mind constantly analyzes like an Aquarius. You're a Leo, but you're afraid of being seen, afraid to express yourself, afraid of becoming the center of attention. It always feels like there's some part of you that doesn't align with the mold others assign to you. If you've ever thought, I'm an exception, I don't fit the pattern, or even, maybe I don't understand myself at all, then you're not alone. You're not lost, you're not crazy, maybe you're just a cusp soul, someone born during a time when the sky was shifting, when the light of the previous sign was still shining bright and the energy of the next one had already begun to stir something within you. And in that place, between two worlds, there is no purity. You're not entirely Aries nor completely Taurus. You are a blend of energies where Mars is still burning with conviction while Venus is already whispering gentle truths. You are two selves living in parallel, sometimes in harmony, sometimes fighting a silent battle no one else can see. So, if you've ever felt that you want to run far yet crave the safety of home, long for freedom yet need control, fall in love deeply yet fear the very idea of it, that's not a contradiction. It's your nature. It's the result of carrying two elements, two planetary forces, and two psychological dimensions within one body. You're not strange. You are living proof of a simple truth rarely spoken aloud. Not everyone is born to play just one role. And here's something important to know. Your core sign, the sun, still plays a central role in your birth chart. But the cusp within you is the shadow zone. The part that drives your instincts, shapes your emotional responses, and quietly influences your life decisions. And often, it is that shadow that defines you most deeply, even if you're unaware of it. If you were born within the last 5 days of a zodiac sign or the first 5 days of the following sign, then you might be living in what astrologers call the cusp, a transitional zone between two constellations. This isn't a new sign, but rather a dynamic intersection where the energies of two signs don't separate cleanly, but blend together, like the hues at the end of a sunset. When one planet is gradually exiting its ruling position, the next planet has already begun to influence you, like two tides pulling in opposite directions at once. And you are the subtle result of that transformation. People born on the cusp are anything but simple. They are the embodiment of life's paradox, a nature that cannot be named with just one word. Part of you always wants to charge ahead, seek something new, break through limitations. But another part whispers, stop, stay safe, don't let anyone see all of you. That's why at times you act like two entirely different people in the same day or even the same moment. You are not two-faced. You're simply living with two dimensions of self, two heartbeats at once, two voices speaking inside the same soul. You may find yourself difficult to understand, and the older you get, the clearer that inner conflict becomes. But that's exactly what makes you special. Because while others choose a single model to follow, you were born to harmonize two worlds that seem impossible to walk together. If you've ever felt like you don't belong, not even among people who share your zodiac sign, it might be because you weren't born under just one. And if others have ever said you're too complicated, hard to please, or constantly changing, then remember this: souls forged from two streams of energy always need more time to mature. But once they do, they're the ones who understand life most deeply and understand themselves best. We'll begin this journey with the first of 4 blended zodiac groups, the fire and earth cusp, people born with the conflict between passion and stability already encoded in them. There are 3 zodiac pairings in this group. Aries Taurus cusp, April 17, 22. Leo Virgo cusp, August 19, 25. Sagittarius Capricorn cusp, December 18, 24. You belong to this group if you constantly feel torn between two choices, to ignite or to maintain control. Mars, the planet of action, impulse, and instinct, intersects here with planets like Venus, Mercury, or Saturn, which are linked to order, structure, and boundaries. That's why it feels like you're living in two operating systems at once. One side wants to burn, while the other wants to sustain. You're the kind of person who can get so passionate about an idea that you lose sleep over it, only to bury it later because it didn't feel safe enough. You are truly passionate, and yet, you're also the one who snuffs out your own fire. Not because you're weak, but because you understand too well the price of recklessness. You are a volcano that appears dormant on the surface, yet deep below, the lava still simmers. There are days when you're calm, grounded, and diligent, like a textbook Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. But just a spark is enough to trigger an eruption. You love intensely, want to live boldly, want to break free, and immediately after, you crave retreat, folding back into your safe space. You're not easy to read, and not easy to read yourself either. People often ask you, what do you really want? But you know that question was never simple because there are always two opposing voices within you. And if you've ever blamed yourself for being inconsistent, forgive yourself because you weren't born to choose one, but to find a way to reconcile both sides within you. So, how do you find balance between these opposing energies, the part of you that longs for stability and the part that burns to break free? The answer isn't about picking a side. It's about learning to listen to each part of yourself and letting it come alive at the right moment. You can give it your all when the time calls for it and step back when safety is needed. You don't need to be consistent, you only need to become self-aware, because here's the truth. You weren't born to force yourself into a single solid shape, you were born to carry both frequencies and learn how to use each one like a musical rhythm with shifting tempos. Your lack of purity isn't a flaw. It's an invitation. You were born to be a bridge between emotion and reason, tradition and innovation, the known and the not yet known. And the more you understand yourself, the more you'll be able to help others resolve the very same contradictions they carry. Not everyone can do that, unless they've lived with contradiction as long as you have. And now, if you belong to the fire-earth cusp, you've probably understood why you often feel conflicted, and that it's not something to fix, it's something to accept and lead with. Because that very conflict is what shapes your unique essence. Now we enter the second group of blended zodiac signs, the air and water cusp. These are the people born between two elements that seem impossible to merge. One side is sharp intellect, the other overflowing emotion. Within them there is always a storm of the mind, both analytical and deeply feeling. They understand the reasons behind everything, yet still can't stop the tears from falling. They don't live simply, and their thoughts are even more complex than others might think. You belong to this group if you were born between June 1723, the cusp of Gemini and Cancer. Cusp, October 1925, the cusp of Libra and Scorpio. February 1822, the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces. This is a time when intellectual planets, like Mercury or Uranus, begin blending into emotional planets like the Moon, Pluto, or Neptune. And the result is an inner world more complex than anything you'll find in an astrology book. You are the kind of person who can have philosophical conversations and cry over a fleeting glance. You sense other people's emotions even before they know what they're feeling. But because of this, you often neglect your own emotional needs. You know how to make others feel heard, yet few truly hear what's going on inside you. You can logically explain everything happening around you, but you can't explain the loneliness inside. You are a finely tuned antenna, but because you pick up too much, you're easily overwhelmed. You're great at smiling, at speaking, but at night you lie awake, troubled by something small that others have long forgotten. You think you're rational, but in truth, you just feel too much. Astrologers call this the intersection of thought-driven planets like Mercury and Uranus, and emotion-driven planets like the Moon, Pluto, and Neptune. When your mind functions like an analyzing machine but your heart is as soft as water, you can't live life simply. You want distance, yet crave connection. You tell others, "I'm fine," while secretly hoping someone will see past the words. You are like a clear stream flowing through a windy plain. The surface is always rippling, stirred by thoughts, memories, and things never spoken. You can sense what others try to hide, yet you're also the one who locks your heart away when things feel unsafe. You may shine with joy at a party, but feel drained afterward from pretending everything is okay. You're not weak, you're just someone who feels at a frequency too high. And that very depth makes you vulnerable to the weight of your own thoughts. Others might call you unpredictable or moody, but they don't realize you've been trying to balance two entire worlds, one of cold, logical reasoning, and one of a heart quietly trembling with emotion. So, how do you live true to your air-water nature? Perhaps you don't need to shut your heart to protect yourself, and you don't need to overcompensate by forcing logic. Let your mind lead when you need reasons, and let your heart speak when you need connection. You don't have to choose one over the other. You were born to bridge the space between intuition and intellect, and that's what makes you irreplaceably unique. If you recognize yourself in these words, then remember, you're not too sensitive, you simply pick up on layers that others cannot reach. And you're not too logical, you're just trying to understand the world using every way you know how. You can try writing down the two parts of your being. Whenever you feel torn, give each side a name. Talk to them like old friends, and you'll be surprised to find there's no need to fix either part, only to know when to listen. Now we move into the third group, the water and fire cusp. This group includes people who love deeply, love truly, love until they are utterly exhausted. Yet they are often the first to step away when they no longer feel safe. They carry both burning passion and melting vulnerability. One side wants to give everything, the other fears being overwhelmed. These souls are often born during the transitions between emotion and instinct, and their lives are marked by constant collisions between the heart and the instinct to survive. You belong to the water-fire group if you were born between March 1722, Pisces and Aries cusp. July 1924, Cancer and Leo cusp. November 18, 24, Scorpio and Sagittarius cusp. This is the zone where Neptune, the Moon, and Pluto, planets of emotion and inner depth, clash with Mars or the Sun, planets of ego, courage, and fire. As a result, you are someone who can light up a room with radiant joy, live fully, stand out boldly, and carry electrifying energy. Yet a single careless word can cause you to shut down completely. You are fire burning in water, paradoxical but vividly alive. In love, you give it your all, but you're always preparing for an ending. You fall in love easily, but lose trust just as quickly. You may be someone who captivates others, but very few can keep you for long. Not because you lack depth, but because you fear the pain of breaking from the inside. You are someone who wants to give everything and at the same time wants to hold it all back. You want to love wholeheartedly, yet only feel secure when you have an escape route. You're not unstable. You're just being honest with the two halves of your heart. One still believes in love, and the other is learning how to protect itself. And you know what? You don't need to fix that, because those who carry both water and fire within them, they're often the ones who write the most beautiful, moving love stories. You may not be easy to love, but when you do love, you make the other person feel truly alive. You are that rare, warm rain, contradictory, unforgettable, and full of meaning. This isn't just a battle between love and fear. The water-fire cusp is where Mars, the symbol of action, collides with Neptune, the symbol of dreams and illusions. You want to dive in, but also dissolve. And sometimes you can't tell whether you're in love with someone or just in love with the feeling of being in love. What about you? Have you ever walked away from love, even when your heart wasn't ready to let go? If so, leave a comment and let me know. You've been there too. And finally, we step into the fourth group, the earth and air cusp. This is the group of those who live between structure and ideas, between organized logic and free-flowing thought. They are the kind of people who appear just fine on the outside, tidy, rational, successful, yet inside lies a labyrinth of unnamed emotions. They are great at managing everything for others, but sometimes have no idea what to do with themselves. If you were born between May 1723, the cusp of Taurus and Gemini, September 1924, the cusp of Virgo and Libra, January 1522, the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, Then you live in the zone where controlling planets like Saturn, Venus, and Mercury intersect with revolutionary planets like Uranus and Aries rudal Mercury. This is the cusp of transformation between what must be certain and what cannot be predicted. The result? You always feel like you know exactly what's going on while simultaneously not being sure of anything inside yourself. You are like a neatly packed suitcase, but no one sees that everything inside is in motion. You live with checklists, deadlines, rules, yet find yourself daydreaming while watching a cloud drift by. You're intelligent, logical, responsible, but there are nights when you lie awake, not knowing why you feel so empty. You live reasonably yet always sense something deeply irrational running through the rhythm of your daily life. You can talk to others with perfect logic, yet hesitate when trying to speak to yourself. You move through life efficiently, but sometimes feel like you're existing without truly touching anything real. That doesn't mean you're shallow, it just means you're so good at control, you've forgotten how to feel free. So how do you reconcile these two worlds, between logic and air, between grounded reality and the longing to soar? You don't always need clarity. Maybe all you need is to let yourself fail a little, be confused a little, feel a little unreasonable, so that eventually you find yourself in something no plan could ever predict. Not every journey needs a map, especially the journey back to your true self. For you, the deepest conflict isn't in your actions, but in your thoughts. Uranus, the planet of breakthroughs and creative thinking, is in constant tension with Saturn, the planet of structure and rules. You want to break everything open, yet fear what it feels like to lose control. And so you often delay, not because you're lazy, but because you're hesitating between freedom and order. Those born on the cusp don't just carry two emotional currents. They often stand at life's most crucial crossroads, to choose safety or freedom, logic or heart, to live for others or live true to themselves. And because there are always two voices inside, they're usually the ones who choose last. Or who choose, but still question it long after. This makes their life slower to unfold, but it also grants them a kind of wisdom that those walking a straight line may never know. And so, we've come to the end of our journey through all four blended zodiac groups, four landscapes of inner tension, belonging to souls that are anything but simple. Some people live torn between bursts of passion and the need to stay grounded. Some are so rational they've forgotten how to feel. Others love with everything they have, but carry a quiet fear of being left behind. And then there are those who live so neatly, they forget how to fall apart like a child. If you've ever felt like you don't completely fit into any one sign, maybe it's because you were never meant to. Maybe you carry two frequencies instead of one. You're not broken, you're just wider than the mold the world tried to put you in. And you're not alone. Cusp-born souls are often misunderstood, but that's exactly what makes them the best at understanding others. Living with two natures inside of you isn't easy. But once you start listening, really listening, you'll realize that no part of you is excessive or wrong. Every fragment, every contradiction, every impulse, it all exists for a reason. And more often than not, your internal conflict is where your greatest light shines through. Someone born on the cusp is like a room with two windows. One opens to sunlight, the other to the night sky. Sometimes they're full of dreams and drive. Other times, they just want peace, quiet, and to be left alone. And because of that room always has light and always has depth. It's not simple, but no one who's ever stepped inside will forget it. So what about you? What two forces are pulling at your center right now? Are you fire-earth, air-water, water-fire, or earth-air? Drop your birth date in the comments and share the part that felt most true for you. And if you want the next video to go deeper into your unique cusp, leave a yes and your sign. Who knows? You might be the one we decode in the next chapter.